Hello everyone, good morning, and I welcome you all for today's webinar, which is on the occasion of International Vulture Awareness Day 2025, and Uttarakhand Biodiversity Board and WWF is co-jointly organizing this webinar. And our webinar will be delivered by Sunny Joshi sir. So Sunny Joshi sir is a conservation biologist from Dehradun, India, with over a decade of dedicated experience in raptor and vulture conservation. He holds a master's degree in environmental science and is currently pursuing his PhD at Dehradun University, focusing on the habitat characterization of the Egyptian vulture. Over the years, he has led projects supported by international conservation funds, integrating field research with education, community engagement, and advocacy. At present, he serves as a senior project officer with WWF India's Raptor Conservation Program, where he leads monitoring, nest protection, and satellite telemetry initiatives across Uttarakhand. I will not take much time and uh, request our presentator to present his presentation. So over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Ria, for such a nice introduction. Thank you, Uttarakhand Biodiversity Board, for organizing this webinar on the occasion of International Vulture Awareness Day. Is my screen visible? Is my presentation visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So International Vulture Awareness Day, it actually falls on every first Saturday of September. Today is Monday. September was off, so we have organized this webinar on Monday. Before moving to vultures, we have to know like what vultures are. So vultures are raptors, which also which we also say birds of prey. जिसका मतलब ये होता है कि ऐसे पक्षी या like the kind of birds which feed on flesh. जैसे अलग अलग birds के feeding habits होते हैं. Some are insectivorous, some are frugivorous. ऐसे ही रैप्टर्स एक ऐसा ग्रुप है विच स्पेशलाइज ऑन ईटिंग फ्लैश यानी कि मीट. ठीक है. एंड अमंग दोज आर डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स. There may be eagles, there may be vultures, there may be owls, there may be falcons, kites, buzzards, different kinds of raptors. Among those raptors, vultures are scavenging birds, and their role in ecosystem is very important. They serve as cleaners of the ecosystem. They dispose of dead animals in our ecosystem. Apart from that, vultures have cultural significance too. We might, a lot of us might have read Ramayana, and there's a description of Jatayu when Mata Sita was being abducted by Ravan. This Jatayu bird, which we can say it's a vulture, confronted Ravan and tried to stop it. In that process, it also lost one of its wings. And when Lord Rama he was on pursuit of finding Sita, Jatayu played a very important role in giving the directions to Lanka where Mata Sita was kept. Apart from that, there is something called Tower of Silence. So we have a really small community of Parsi people. Mostly they're living in Mumbai, Maharashtra, and Gujarat region. You may know a lot of influential Parsi families, for example, Tatas, Godrej, Ratan Tata, and all of his family. So the Parsi tradition, in Parsi tradition, what happens is when a human being dies, their dead bodies are placed on top of Tower of Silences, where these vultures would come and feed on the carcass of the humans. And the Parsis believe that the dead body is impure, and when the vultures eat it, their soul liberates and goes to heaven. Little bit about the ecology of vultures. So these are social birds. Social birds, as in they like to hang around in large groups. They roost in large groups, and they uh, nest. A lot of them nest in colonies too. So their lifespan is fairly large compared to other birds, from 10 to 30 years in the wild, and in captivity they've been known to live more than 40 years too. Most of these vultures would nest on rocky cliffs and tall trees. Tall, as in like really huge trees, 80 to 100 feet high. These birds are very slow breeders. Slow breeder means uh, during the breeding season or every 1 year, a pair would lay only one egg, and the survival rates for these birds is also very slow. Then they have an excellent eyesight. These birds are known to soar very high in the air. Some of them have been reported to be soaring at 7,000, 8,000, 10,000 feet also. And from that, they look for look for the dead animals to feed on. They have highly acidic stomachs, which helps them in digesting rotting carcasses and kill disease causing bacteria and even anthrax. तो इसका मतलब ये है कि जो ये मरे हुए जानवरों को जब ये खाते हैं, इनका स्टमक में इतना ज़्यादा एसिड होता है कि सारी की सारी बीमारियां फैलाने वाले जो बैक्टीरियाज हैं वो वहीं के वहीं ख़त्म हो जाते हैं, जैसे ही वल्चर सड़े गले मांस को खाता है. This is a picture from Timarpur, Delhi in 1984. As you can see, hundreds and hundreds of vultures are just, sitting on the ground, probably near a carcass dump site. And as you can see, the water is also there. So every animal or bird or any other living being needs certain living conditions, certain habitats, and they have these dietary requirements uh, due to which they survive. So if safe food is available and water is available, you will find the life thrive. But this is a site from 1984, and something has changed since then. So India is actually home to 9 species of vultures. You can see the 9 species in this slide: white-rumped vulture, red-headed vulture, slender-billed vulture, Egyptian vulture, bearded vulture, cinereous, Eurasian vulture, Himalayan, and long-billed vulture. But you can see there are some acronyms or accreditations written right next to them. Some of them have written CR, them have NT, one of it has EN, and one is LC. These are the IUCN Red List categories which have been assigned to them. And as you can see, more than half of these 9 species, for example, actually 5 of them are in the threatened category. 4 species are critically endangered, 1 species is endangered, and 3 of them are near threatened. Only one species, Eurasian vulture or Eurasian griffon, you can say, is a least concerned species. Apart from that, all of these vultures are facing threats, and some of them are critically endangered. So, what happened? In this slide, there are 4 pictures. First, on top left, says protect vultures, prevent diseases. Carcass containing diclofenac are poisonous to vultures. So, what is a diclofenac? If you see the image on bottom of this, there's a bottle of a drug. It says diclofenac sodium injection. Diclofenac is a painkiller, as we also use this if you have people in your family who are who have some pain in your body, joint pain, body pain. So this diclofenac is used as a painkiller. So in 1990s, what happened was this diclofenac was introduced for veterinary purposes or to treat cattle, and it's a very effective medicine, which within hours it works and eases out the pain. But what was happening was, so once this diclofenac got into the system of the cattle, and when cattle died, these it started causing a renal failure or kidney failure in the vultures. So if the vultures would eat diclofenac infested carcass, they would die within 24 to 48 hours. We will discuss a little bit more later in the slide. And then on top right, you see a couple of vultures struggling to fly and probably getting hit by a power line or a transmission line. That is one of the major threats that has been emerging recently. And fourth and the last image, you can see there's a dead animal, dead carcass, and a lot of stray dogs or feral dogs, or if you want to say free ranging domestic dogs, are feeding on it. So with the decline in vulture species, these dogs have taken over the ecological role, and they compete with vultures to feed on these carcasses. Again, so we'll refresh the conservation issues. Since 1990s, or since the introduction of diclofenac sodium, this painkiller in cattle treatment, the vulture populations started declining drastically. And but the drug use was banned by the government of India in 2006. But over the use counters, or for example, human use diclofenac being given to the cattle is still going on. Then we've already talked about electrocution. On bottom right, you can see there's a picture of a really huge electricity uh, transmission line pole, and you can see probably 50 vultures, 50 Himalayan vultures using it to perch, which actually poses a great threat, because as soon as these birds would fly and start to soaring, uh, there may be chances that these birds will get hit by the power line. So we have already discussed that 4 of these 9 species are critically endangered, and Egyptian vulture is endangered. So now, what WWF India is doing for vulture conservation. On right side, there's a map of India, and the areas highlighted are the regions where WWF India is working for vulture conservation. As you can see, parts of Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, and Bihar, which forms Tarai Arc landscape, we've been actively working. Then there is parts of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, and Kerala, and in eastern side, Assam and Arunachal Pradesh. We also do some work in West Bengal. So what do we do there? There are 4 major different types of work that we do. First one is monitoring of vulture nesting colonies. What we do is we try to identify where these birds are nesting, and we try to monitor them to understand if the birds are breeding well or not. If the birds are breeding well, we keep these areas intact. And if we see that there is a decline in birds breeding, we try to identify the threats or issues that may be causing the decline and try to mitigate that. The second thing is satellite telemetry studies to understand movement pattern and habitat use. Satellite telemetry is a fairly recent modern study where you would place a satellite transmitter or like a GPS device on a bird, and we can track movement of the bird with that. There's a next slide where I talk about satellite telemetry studies in Uttarakhand. And third thing is capacity building sessions for the forest department for vulture identification and monitoring. It is very important to identify such areas where these vultures are residing or the habitats these guys are doing. And you and I, or people who are working for conservation across India, we don't have enough arms and we don't have enough legs to visit all the areas. So it's imperative that we include frontline forest staff of each of these vulture range states and train them in vulture identification. So whenever they go out uh, and survey their areas for tigers and leopards and elephants, they also spot and record vulture populations for their conservation. And the fourth and the most important thing is awareness sessions for rural communities, which are major stakeholders in this case, on ill effects of using harmful NSAIDs. NSAIDs are non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, as we have already mentioned. So diclofenac sodium is a NSAID, which is non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So discouraging NSAID in those areas where a lot of people are rearing cattle is one of the major work that we do across India. So these images are from Uttarakhand. This is a study that we've been doing for last couple of years. As you can see on the left, it's a white-crowned vulture or Gyps bengalensis. This is a critically endangered species, and what we have done is we've placed a satellite transmitter on the back of the bird, and it's zoomed out also. So this is a solar powered GPS device which is less than 3% of the body weight of the bird, so it doesn't hinder the flight pattern, and it doesn't affect the soaring capabilities of the bird. And we what we do is we place a ring on the feet. It has a unique code which can be referred back to us that we have uh, tagged this bird in case the satellite tag is lost. As these birds live for very long time, for example 20, 25, 30 years, these rings uh, can be very effective in resighting of the bird. uh, the bird on the left, the white-armed vulture, we had tagged in 2023, and the bird is still transmitting locations. But even if the GPS device fails, the photographers or the researchers, if they spot this bird after 25 years, because it's not going to lose the ring. And what we do is we make these flyers and hand it out to the local communities and birders and the forest department, so that whenever they spot this bird, they report it back to us. Similarly, on the right, it's a red-headed vulture that we have recently tagged in April, and this is also a critically endangered species. Uttarakhand Forest Department and WWF India have done the satellite telemetry exercise for the first time in Uttarakhand. These are some of the findings of the telemetry exercise. As you can see on top left corner, it says that we have released the bird on 29th April, and we think that these birds would be safe inside the protected areas. But from the satellite telemetry study, you can see we had tagged the bird on in Rajaji National Park or Rajaji Tiger Reserve. But the bird actually spends most of its time in the middle Himalayan region of Pauri, Gadwal, and Almora districts. And sometimes it ventures very close to these power lines, which may cause threat. The maximum elevation that the bird has flown is around 2,500 meters. It's near Pauri Gadwal. And we also look at affinity with water, forest, or human communities. So as from the last statement, the bird is venturing in mid-altitude forested areas very close to villages. Villages because food is available there. Now, coming to that, we have talked about how the threats have caused serious decline in vulture populations. The kind of studies that we are doing, nest monitoring, satellite telemetry, and all of that. But communities, which are a major stakeholder, what their role is very important in vulture conservation. So we engage them for awareness sessions, and we educate them to refrain using toxic NSAIDs for livestock treatment and using vulture safe drugs. And we also engage communities in case there's a nearby nesting colony of vultures to protect them and to monitor them. These are some of the snippets of awareness sessions that we did. And last but not the least, it's very important to engage the new coming generation or newer generation for vulture conservation, as most of us and a lot of us who are who are born after the year 2000 have not seen these magnificent birds up close. So, with that, I am closing this presentation. I have three questions written here, and I think if Ria decides to open a discussion activity or Q&A, I have three questions for you. Uh, have you spotted any vultures nearby or any recent sightings? And do you think that the threat to vulture population is threat to our health as well? And the third is, who are the main stakeholders? We have talked about the forest department, and we have talked about the communities who are rearing cattle. But what do you think are other major stakeholders that are out there? So with that, uh, I'll close my presentation. If you have any questions, you can write to me. I have given my email. It's sjoshi@wwf.india.net. And I think I'm open for questions.
So, yes, sir. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation and educating all of us regarding the vulture and its conservation, importance, and threats. So the stage is open for the Q&A session, and I can see there's three or four questions by our attendees, participants. So first question is, what's the solution for electrocution?
So, okay. So for electrocution, a couple of things have been done across globe and in India also. First is these power lines could be retrofitted with PVC panels. तो हिंदी में बोलूँ तो ऐसा करते हैं कि जो बिजली के खंभे होते हैं जहाँ पर ये बर्ड्स जाकर के बैठते हैं, तो उसमें जो पावर लाइन होती है उसको इंसुलेट कर दिया जाता है पीवीसी पाइप से या फिर जो है रबर के इंसुलेशन से। और दूसरा तरीका ये होता है कि व्हाट यू कैन डू इज you can ensure that people are not dumping carcasses near the power line, because vultures usually क्या है खाने के लिए ही पावर लाइन के पास आते हैं। तो उनको आसपास अगर बड़े पेड़ नहीं मिलते हैं तो वो जो है पावर लाइन पर जाकर के बैठ जाते हैं। सो वी कैन इंश्योर दैट लाइक द फूड अवेलेबिलिटी नियर द पावर लाइन इज नॉट देयर, एंड we can retrofit and insulate the power lines. There is a very interesting case. Actually, it has happened for the first time in India, and I'm sharing this on this platform. Is that we have actually managed to insulate 10 kilometers of power line in Langha. There's a carcass dump site in Sehespur. It's in Kalsi Forest Division, जहाँ पर जो है काफ़ी vultures की mortality होती थी। और रिसेंटली अप्रैल 2025 में जो है यूपीसीएल ने मिलके, उत्तराखंड फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट ने मिलके, WWF इंडिया एंड लोकल कम्युनिटीज़ ने मिलके ऐसे हॉटस्पॉट आइडेंटिफाई किए जहाँ पर कि ये वल्चर्स की मोर्टालिटी हो रही थी। एंड ADB had graciously funded that project. उसमें क्या किया, 10 किलोमीटर की उस पूरी लाइन को ही इंसुलेट कर दिया गया जहां पर वर्टिकल्चर्स की मोर्टेलिटी हो रही थी. Okay. Did I answer your question? Okay.
So our next question is, beside diclofenac, what are the other veterinary drugs or pesticides currently posing risk to vulture?
Okay, another one was Nimusulide. Nimusulide has been recently banned. I think it got banned last year only, or probably this year, early this year, January. That was another NSAID that was being used, probably not as extensively as diclofenac, but it was still there and it was causing issues, and it has been banned now. For pesticides, not many studies have been done in India which caused direct threat or direct, like, deaths in vultures yet.
Next question, which software is used for telemetry mapping?
Which software is used for telemetry mapping? Okay, so actually telemetry data. So we have a separate department for GIS related studies. So all we do is out in the field as we implement all of these exercises, and the GIS department of WWF India takes care of these analysis. Okay.
Next question, in light of climate change amplifying human wildlife conflict,
Sorry.
example, in the light of climate change amplifying human wildlife conflicts through altered scavenging patterns, what adaptive conservation measures are being researched or monitored for vulture in the Terai Arc landscape to safeguard the biodiversity? So
Oh, hi. Sorry, I think I lost you.
it's okay. I'm just asking that in the light of climate change, we can all see the impacts of climate change and amplifying human wildlife conflicts through
Hi.
altered scavenging patterns. What adaptive conservation measures are being researched or monitored for vultures in the Terai Arc landscape to safeguard the biodiversity?
Ria, I'm so sorry. Like, can I interrupt you? I lost you because of the bad connection.
So
I couldn't.
can you see the chat box? I have mentioned the questions there.
Okay, you have mentioned the questions.
Yeah,
Which
I have
which
mentioned
question?
two questions. First is the in light of climate change amplifying human wildlife conflicts through
Okay,
altered.
okay. I cannot see this because like I got dropped off the call in between.
Okay, uh,
Can you
so
just, yeah, repeat it?
I'm resharing it. I'm resharing it.
Okay, in light of climate change amplifying human wildlife conflicts through altered scavenging patterns, what adaptive conservation measures are being researched or monitored for vultures in Tal to safeguard biodiversity? Okay, so okay, so I think the person who's asking this,
It's me.
okay, you are asking this. Okay,
Yes.
okay. So I think what you're asking right now is altered scavenging patterns means vultures are not there anymore, right? And it uh, other scavenging communities may have taken over the niche. For example, if you are living very close to forested areas and you're dumping carcasses over there, and the birds are not coming because they're not there. So other scavengers, for example, hyenas will come, and jackals will come, feral dogs will be there, and probably a leopard might come closer to the communities, and these things happen. So at least we are doing some work in around Corbett Tiger Reserve, where we are trying to identify such hotspots where this carcass dumping or is causing maybe probably a slight increase in HWC. So in those areas, what we've proposed is something which is something called safe feeding site for vultures, or in Nepal they say it like vulture restaurants. These are designated areas where the vultures would come and feed. So it is fenced off on a high rise platform where the carcasses are dumped, and the vultures would come and feed it, but the other scavengers cannot reach. Uh, the hyenas would not be able to reach. The leopard would not be able to reach. Something like that. And if the vultures are not present there, a lot of communities have actually started burying the carcasses under the ground, which actually again is not like, at least if you talk to me personally, like I would not recommend it, because that's still food for the wildlife, and uh, it should be utilized in that manner. And uh, burying such large animals in large numbers may actually cause issues with the soil profile due to leaching and all that problems, right? Did I answer your question? Yeah, okay. Next one.
In areas where vultures are perceived as pests near human habitation due to scavenging near villages, what strategies are in place to reduce the
Okay.
retaliatory actions and promote coexistence?
Okay, see, like this is something where we need to change the perception of the communities, because they are scavenging and they're cleaning the system. Like, what we do is, like, we associate them with flesh eating, but we don't realize, or we don't, like, think it through, that if they don't eat it, uh, spread of diseases, foul smell, attracting other scavenging communities will be there. So there needs to be awareness, like, spread awareness among the communities which have negative connotations attached to vultures.
Karthik is asking, sir, there are other animals which are competing with vultures for food and how to stop this?
Okay, so right now there are free-ranging domestic dogs which are competing with the vultures for now, and I think it's a complex question given current socio-political scenario. You must have seen, like, how things have went when people started, like, when people tried to deal with the free-ranging dogs. But I must say that, like, I have not put it in the presentation, but then there are certain carcass dump sites. If you go there, you will find 150 to 200 feral dogs at one place, and these dogs would attack you, like, let me tell you that. So it needs to be addressed, but it needs to be addressed in the most humane way possible, so that, like, it's not like uh, we cannot ill treat any life form, right?
Praful is asking, so vultures don't eat fresh meat?
No, it's not like that. So vultures would eat okay, so everyone would eat fresh meat, but in case of vultures, the exception is that they can also digest very rotten meat. ठीक है, तो उनका जो ना खाने का जो रेंज है, मतलब the kind of meat that they can eat is very large. They, of course, they would eat fresh meat.
Uh, Sir, I have one last question.
Okay.
So, okay, we have a question from Bhuvan. Let me take this one. Sir, how to easily get recognition and identify the vultures while they are flying over a long distance? Is there any unique wings flapping techniques to vultures?
Yes. So Bhuvan, the actually usually the vulture identification session, I take it separately. I just took it the other day on Friday. That was International Vulture Awareness Day. I can probably share the link for how to identify vultures in flight. There may be, like, I may have had some talk uh, for vulture identification, but yeah, you can definitely identify vultures in flight. Most of them have different flying patterns, or, like, the plumages that you can see while they are flying. Okay.
अ, सर अभी तक क्या आपने इसमें बहुत काम किया है एंड जितना आपने फील्ड में भी देखा होगा, क्या
Hmm.
अवेयरनेस प्रोग्राम, सिटीजन साइंस इनिशिएटिव्स का इम्पैक्ट हो रहा है हमारे वल्चर कंजर्वेशन में? और कितना इसका ज़्यादा डिफरेंस फ़ील होता है आपको जहाँ पे हम इतना कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग करते हैं, अवेयरनेस
Hmm.
प्रोग्राम्स करते हैं, कंपेयर टू प्लेसेस जहाँ पे इस सब के बारे में नॉलेज शेयरिंग नहीं हो रहा है?
नहीं होता है, ठीक है। देखिए इसमें ना सबसे बड़ा मैं आपको एग्जांपल ये लांघा का ही दूंगा। तो लांघा जो है देहरादून से ऑलमोस्ट 30-35 किलोमीटर्स की दूरी पर है, टुवर्ड्स कालसी। वहाँ पर क्या था, एक कारकस डंप साइट है जो कि ट्रेडिशनल कारकस डंप साइट है। मतलब हमने पुराने लोगों से या लोकल कम्युनिटी से बात किया एंड दे हैव सेड दैट लास्ट 50-60 ईयर्स से यूज होता है एंड मे बी इवन बिफोर दैट टू। अब उस एरिया में हम लोगों ने लास्ट ऑलमोस्ट वही है कि 2013-14 से हमने काम करना शुरू किया एंड धीरे धीरे लोगों को इंगेज किया, फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट को इंगेज किया एंड उनके परसेप्शन में बदलाव आया। इवेंचुअली जो अप्रैल में जो हम ये कर पाए हैं इंसुलेट करने का पावर लाइन को, वो कम्युनिटी की अवेयरनेस, डिपार्टमेंट का प्रोएक्टिव मेजर्स एंड साथ साथ में जितने भी हमारे लाइन डिपार्टमेंट थे ना, उनके कोलैबोरेशन से ही हो पाया। अगर ये लोग जो है पुश नहीं करते तो शायद ये अचीव करना बड़ा मुश्किल हो जाता। ठीक है, तो ये दिस इज डेफिनेटली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट लाइक वी एंगेज पीपल इन द कंजर्वेशन एक्टिविटीज। एंड उत्तराखंड स्पेशली जो है इस मामले में या इस काम में काफी बढ़ चढ़ करके आ गया है। मैंने आपके साथ जो है अभी चैट बॉक्स में जो टेलीमेट्री एक्सरसाइज हुआ था उसका एक रिपोर्ट शेयर किया है। इफ समवन वांट्स टू रीड इट, एक ये इस पेज के सबसे लास्ट में जाकर के राइट कॉर्नर में आपको डाउनलोड का लिंक मिल जाएगा उस रिपोर्ट का। ठीक है, ये आप कर सकते। वेट, और और दूसरा क्या है, मैं एक चीज़ और आपके साथ शेयर कर रहा हूँ। ये है हमारा एक रैप्टर एग्जीबिशन है जो कि वर्चुअल एग्जीबिशन है। यू कैन गो देयर एंड क्लिक, और आपको ऑलमोस्ट 50 से 60 रैप्टर स्पीसीज जो है इंडिया में मिलती है उनके बारे में इंफॉर्मेशन इसमें मिल जाएगा। ये दिस इज अ वर्चुअल एग्जीबिशन। ठीक है, और उसके अलावा एक ये प्रोग्राम एक्चुअली शुरू हो चुका है, उसका भी मैं लिंक शेयर कर रहा हूँ। दिस इज WWF इंडियाज एनुअल वल्चर काउंट। कैन समवन प्लीज
Yes.
म्यूट? आई कैन हियर, या। सो
Yes.
वल्चर वल्चर काउंट जो है हमारा एक सिटीजन साइंस इवेंट है दैट वी डू विद बर्ड काउंट इंडिया और ईबर्ड। और हम क्या करते हैं कि अक्रॉस इंडिया पूरे महीने भर में कोशिश करते हैं कि वल्चर्स जहाँ जहाँ पर भी रिपोर्ट हो उसको जो है शेयर करने की कोशिश करते हैं। तो मैं इसको जो है क्लोज करने से पहले आई वांटेड टू शो यू वन मोर थिंग। वेट
So we cannot see your screen.
वेट, आई एम सर्चिंग फॉर द फाइल।
No issue.
ओके, सो या मीनवाइल वी कैन टॉक।
I have shared the feedback form link in the chat box. So kindly fill that feedback form so that we can process your certificates, e-certificates, and we will be sharing that e-certificate via mail. तो उसके लिए आपको वो फीडबैक फॉर्म भरना ज़रूरी है। सेकेंड थिंग इज़ दैट हम जितना भी सर ने लिंक शेयर किया है, आई विल सर्कुलेट इट इन द ग्रुप नेम्ड एज फ्रेंड्स ऑफ बायोडाइवर्सिटी, जिसका लिंक मैं मेल में मेंशन कर दूंगी।
ठीक है, तो ये जो है अभी आपको स्क्रीन शेयर हो गया।
यस सर।
Okay, इसको थोड़ा ये कैसे खुलेगा? हाँ, ठीक है, ये इट्स नॉट वेरी क्लियर बट यू कैन फाइंड दिस इन eBird का वेबसाइट ऑन clearer version. So last year's annual vulture count in collaboration with Bird Count India. So we had 209 volunteers from 17 different states, and we were able to cite almost 4,500 vultures, 4,445 vultures across India, out of which these were the species. तो व्हाइट टर्न वल्चर के 440, 330 जो हैं आपको लॉन्ग बिल्ड या इंडियन वल्चर के। बट देन देर आर सर्टेन वल्चर्स, यू कैन सी दैट स्लेंडर बिल्ड वल्चर वी ओनली फाउंड वंस, और यूरेशियन ग्रिफन बिकॉज इट इज माइग्रेटरी स्पीसीज, तो हो सकता है कि अक्टूबर के शुरुआत में वो आया होगा, तो 4 ही इंडिविजुअल मिले। तो ये जो है these kinds of citizen science activities, they help us in map out those areas and fill out those gaps, which like maybe researchers को भी नहीं पता हो, maybe जो है conservationist को भी नहीं पता हो। ठीक है, जो कि हम लोकल कम्युनिटीज या फिर जो है जो लोग वल्चर्स को लास्ट काफी सालों से देखते हुए आए हैं वो हमको बता पाते हैं। तो जो है आपकी और हमारी टीम में तो लिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ लोग ही हो सकते हैं ना, लेकिन ये जो है अब ये सिटीजन साइंस प्रोग्राम है, 200 लोगों ने एक साथ जो है 1 महीने तक रिपोर्ट करने की कोशिश करी है, तो एक काफ़ी अच्छा नंबर वल्चर्स के काउंट में निकल करके आया है. And over the so this year is the 5th year that we are doing this annual vulture count, and as you can see, people from Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Delhi, UP, these are the states which have constantly excelled in participation and also reporting vultures from these areas. So this year also we are doing the same activity. You can go to Bird Count India's website to know more about this
Initiative.
project. Yeah, project. And although the registrations are closed, but you can still reach out to me if you want to participate in that.
Okay. So I will do one thing. I will draft the mail, and along with certificates, I will mention all these links with the flyer which you have shown to us, and those three questions which you displayed in your presentation, so that
Right.
whoever is willing to answer
Fills out
you.
the form. Yeah, that
Yeah.
will be really great.
Yes. And do we have something else to cover, guys? You want any query to answer? Please feel
Uh,
free.
Ma'am, are you sharing the feedback form and the
I have
certificate request
shared
on?
it, sir. I have shared it in the chat box and I have pinned it. Please check it.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Okay,
Would
sir.
you be sending on email also, or putting it up in the Friends group?
Sir, you
Friends
have
of.
to fill the feedback form right now so
Oh,
that I can access your certificate, process it, and mail you the certificates. Okay. So with this, can we just go with the vote of thanks? Sir, may I?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining us and making this session very engaging with your queries. And I hope your answers, your queries has been answered by Sunny sir. And I want to say thanks to our organizers and co-organizers WWF India and Uttarakhand Biodiversity Board for hosting this webinar and awareing all of us and educating us through the initiative, through the knowledgeable sessions. And I want to convey my heartfelt gratitude to Sunny sir for taking out his time and educating all of us and inspiring us to participate in the noble cause for the conservation of raptors as well as vultures. So, with this, I want to end the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank
And
you, Ria.
if anyone have a query, please reach out to me. I'm sharing my WhatsApp number so that if you miss the feedback form or you missed the session from starting, I will share the recording links with you. I have shared my WhatsApp number in the chat box. Please take a screenshot of that and connect with me. Okay, I'm ending the session right now. Thank you once again, everyone.